All right, it's County Mosley of HBCU Legends on Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation. Man, I am here with one of my Morehouse brothers, and it's so great to see him taking over the program. He came from Houston, Texas. He was here in H-Town with me. I don't know why we didn't cross paths,
right,
Coach. But he is here. Well, he's in ATL now, and he is going to do his thing. He's putting a new dynamic on the team. He's installing some new systems, some new philosophies to the Maroon Tigers. It's none other than Coach Wilcher. What's going on, Coach?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. Just excited to be here and excited to be a part of this journey.
Look, I think a lot of people are excited for you as well, and there's a lot of anticipation for this season, especially what you've been bringing thus far to the team. A lot of great positive things have been coming from what I've heard thus far from what you've installed with the team. So let's make sure the Maroon Tigers show up and show out.
That's right. That's right. Hey, when I got the job and I talked with the president, I tell everybody I only got two goals here. I think it's quite simple. I just want to win and graduate, and I think everything else will take care of itself. I mean,
look, man, talk about graduation. I still remember graduation '89. I still would have those nightmares. Did I really graduate or not?
Right.
Well, good. Well, look, it is good to finally meet you as well. And I know one of the positive things coming out of the SIAC meetings, you had a chance to meet with Mason Smith, who also writes for us in Atlanta. And Mason also was at your, I believe, one of the camps that you guys had as well.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about the early on, I guess, getting acclimated to the systems or getting acclimated to your team, as well as vice versa, your team getting acclimated to you once you took over the program.
Well, I tell you what, anytime you take a position like this, it's always a huge, undertaking. The kids have been great. One thing I did in the spring, I let every kid that walked in my door, for the most part, that wanted to walk on, I let them walk on, and then I let them cut themselves. I'm a fair and equal dude. But it was great. We found a couple guys in the spring, and then coming back out, that we did a pretty good job in late recruiting, because I didn't start till after signing date in February. So everything I was doing was late recruiting, but I feel pretty good for the most part about the class we brought in. So I'm fired up, because I'm like, imagine what happens when we get a real runway and we're not behind the 8 ball. So I'll be really excited. But no, the kids have been fantastic. There's always a learning curve whenever you take over a new job. Fortunately for me, I started at Division II. I've coached FCS ball. And then, I did the Group of 5 stuff and Power 5 stuff. But if I came straight from Power 5 to a place like Morehouse, I would be so lost.
Would you?
I would be, yes.
Is it because of the resources or the lack of resources, Coach?
It's just a different world. Like when I was at Rice, there were 10 assistants plus the head coach. Every assistant had an assistant. We had like a recruiting department. There's like 4 people. There's like, you have a director of football operations. You got the high school relations. The head coach has his own secretary. There's a secretary for the staff. And then you go downstairs, and we got like 4 full-time trainers plus GAs. And then there's a woman in the training room that only deals with insurance. And then you go in the weight room, it's 4 full-time strength coaches, and each one of them got an intern. And then you got 2 full-time people in the equipment room, plus they get interns, right? And so we have none of that.
And we're talking about Rice University, not a large program, very prestigious university in the South. But, when we talk about Rice, we're not talking about a national powerhouse any longer. That's long gone from the days from the 40s and 50s.
Right. But in Division I, Group of 5 FBS ball, that is basically the industry standard. That's what everybody is doing or trying to do. So when you come from a place like that, and I get here, I have no full-time strength coach. There's really no operations person. Like, you have to wear so many different hats and do so many different things that if I hadn't started at small schools, I would be lost, because I would be used to having all this help, people to do stuff for me, and like, no, you got to do it.
I remember those days, man, when old coach over at Morehouse, he was the one taking out the water and doing everything early in the morning. You go over to BT Harvey, and it was like you were a one-man show, and you played on that team, right? So
yeah, I played.
You understood.
I totally understand, and I'm just so fired up that I was able to get. I got, I think, 4 full-time coaches. And then I supplement that, and I have another 6 or 7 part-time.
Okay, we lost you for a quick second, Coach.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, got you back. All right.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, good. That's good to know, man. So let's talk what's going to happen in September 16th. You guys are going to be featured and showcased in the 2nd annual HBCU NYC Classic against Albany State. I was there for the first one when the Maroon Tigers took on Howard University, our nemesis from the East.
Right.
And one thing that was great to see from my perspective, and being one of the 2 media guys that were there, it was the fact that the stadium had over 35,000 people, but outside the stadium, you had another probably 8,000 to 10,000 people just tailgating. So there was a lot of, I guess, anticipation, enthusiasm about the event and what's happening with the event. And I had a chance to speak with Albert Williams, again, the CEO of the event. Talk to me about how important is it for the Maroon Tigers to go back up to New York in the Big Apple at MetLife Stadium to be able to really showcase what you have to offer in front of a national audience? It's going to be streamed on NBC, CNBC, and Paramount, and all those other stations.
Well, I tell you what, anytime we get a chance to play in front of a national audience, it's amazing. As a head coach, I'm always thinking about recruiting.
Yeah.
So for me, it's huge because the state of New Jersey does not have any Division II schools. Right. So that's prime. That's me then. I'm about to own New Jersey, right? Yeah. New York has a few Division II schools, but they're so huge, and people are very transient from Atlanta to New York and things like that. So I'm always thinking in terms of recruiting. Like, it's a great opportunity for us to not only showcase ourselves, but to really, really up our brand recruiting wise. Maybe I can go up there. We do a great job. We can pull a handful of kids from that area. I think this past year we have 3 kids from New York, New Jersey area.
Okay.
And really it should be 3 to 5 every single year, just because they don't have any Division II schools. And what I can do with scholarship dollars and what have you, I can probably make it cheaper than going to a Division II school in the state of Pennsylvania. So, just thinking about the metrics of it, it's a good deal for us.
Yeah, when I was at Morehouse, the East Coast guys, New York, New Jersey, you have the Triangle with Washington, those guys, and you have those guys along with Charlotte, Raleigh-Durham area as well. There was a large contingency of East Coast guys that came to Morehouse, and as well as the ladies over at Spelman. So it would help you, of course, to get some of that talent from that area, because there's a plethora of talent for you to grasp. So I like the fact that you're looking at it as a great recruiting effort for the team. And talk about the team, man. This season, I know it's hard to kind of anticipate and say, look, we're going to go challenge for the SIAC title. But of course, that's always a coach's aspiration to do so. Who are these guys? What's the identity of the team? Let's talk about that first. Then we can identify some of the major guys that we should keep an eye on during the season.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're still honing in on our identity, but one thing I came in from day one, I've challenged the offense. We have to be able to run the ball. To win games, you got to be able to run the ball, whether it is to run the ball in the fourth quarter, to run the clock out. You got the lead. You want to keep the lead. It all comes back to you have to be able to run the ball. I think Stan Clayton, our offensive coordinator, is doing an amazing job. He's an NFL guy, played in the NFL, has coached in the Ivy League, Patriot League, and Pioneer Leagues. And shoot, he's even coached in the SIac and the SWAC. And he played, I think, 5-6 years in the NFL. He's done a tremendous job of molding the offensive line, so I'm really excited about that. David Clowney, coaching the quarterbacks, has done a tremendous job coming in because, to be honest with you, when I first got there, I thought we was going to go get a quarterback because I was like, man, this dude can't do it. Now that he's been underneath Coach Clowney's tutelage and gaining some confidence, I'm like, we can win the league with this dude. So I'm very excited about that. Corey Russ has been on staff. We moved him over to receivers. He's doing a great job. And, we hired we had to bring in tight ends coach, Kenton Evans, who's been a Division I offensive coordinator, and then a running back coach, Derek Vaughn, who's actually played for me at Morehouse when I was here the first time, and he was just recently a head coach in the Atlanta area. So just bringing in experience and guys that I don't have to coach because they can do it on their own. And then, man, that's that offense. But that defensive side of the ball now, they're going to be coming at some folks like some crazy dogs that and I didn't mention this, me and Coach Clayton worked together, the OC, back 97 at UMass, and then we interned together with the Bears. And then the DC, we worked at Lehigh together. We won the championship together at Lehigh. And, Charles Alexander doing a great job. But, George Copeland was on staff last year as the DC. He's still here, coaching linebackers, special teams. Anything I need him to do, assistant head coach, he does a tremendous job. And then Adrian Billingsley coaches the D-line. He's been here. And John Jefferson coaches the corners. And then I have a wild card, Kevin Bull Jones, a longtime, very successful Atlanta area high school coach, is working with us as an analyst. So, it's great because I brought in a lot of not necessarily college head coaching experience, but just head coaching experience of guys I can go to and just have candid conversations about how we doing, what we doing, what's the process looking like. So, you always got to surround yourself with talented people. So I'm just so fired up at the coaching staff that we're able to get and put those guys in place, and I let them go to work.
Yeah, man, sound like a great ensemble that you have collected there. One thing about the defensive coach, it was funny because my son made a point about this because he's my videographer, photographer, and he was down on the field during the game last season, and he said, man, that defensive coordinator, he was on those guys the whole time. That I say, well, hey, you have to be, because Morehouse did a great job that first half shutting out and shutting down Howard. The second half, not so great, but it was I was impressed what they were doing and what they were able to be able to do so over a team that was highly favored and heavily favored over them. So go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's always a little difficult. Like Morehouse, we don't have a full-time strength coach. We're trying to get one. We're working on getting one. So inevitably, when you're playing up a level, and we only have 36, we're supposed to have 36 scholarships. We only have about 30, give or take. And when you're playing somebody that has 63 full scholarships, that's a big difference. You're going into the fight underhand, as the little man all the time. Right. But at the end of the day, I tell my dudes, that's just an excuse, right? When I was at Lehigh, we were non-scholarship, and we was destroying scholarship teams, right?
Really?
When I coached at Morehouse before, we beat them. We beat Howard in 91 and in 93. 92 and 94, we beat them when I was assistant coach. So it can be done. And our goal is not to, hey, you guys played great. It was a great showing. I'm like, I don't care about that. I care about wins and losses. Our goal is to win.
Man, I love it. I love it. I love it. It's getting me pumped up, because I know Coach Freeman for a long time, he was there and he put in his work. But I like the new attitude. I like the new energy. I like the new passion that you're bringing to the table, man. So kudos for that. Let's talk about the offense, the quarterback. Who's going to be your quarterback? Who's your starting quarterback?
It's going to be Derek West.
Derek, okay. What about your running backs?
It's going to be running back by committee. Be honest with you, I'm so excited. We got I was telling somebody today, right now, I'll probably go down that line. I got 6 running backs I could put in the game and not lose, right? We're going to run the rock, and I got some dudes. They're all a little different. But, when you got 6, that means you got competition.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Talk about your offensive line.
Offensive line's coming into shape. We had a few guys coming back off of injuries. But, again, Coach Clayton, he's master with that offensive line. He's molding them. The offensive line is like your unit. You got to mold that thing, And, again, I challenge them, and I think they're shocked because they see me as like, oh, Coach Wilcher, he coaches DBs. I was like, no, I'm a football coach. I coach all 11. So I'll get on the offensive lineman just like I'll get on the DB or receiver. So, but they're gelling and they're being able to do some things. So I'm excited about them.
Any guys returning at the receiver position?
We got a few guys, Marquez Pride, Brogan Corda, RJ Howard, Cameron Brunson played a little bit last year. But I'll be honest with you, when I came in, I did not watch a lot of tape. Because to me, the past is the past.
Right.
Let's give it a fresh set of eyes. Plus, when I came in and I was recruiting, I wanted to have the same set of eyes that I had when I was at Rice. I want to recruit dudes that could play for me at Rice. The thing that drives me nuts is when people be like, oh, I got a great player. He will be great for you in Morehouse. And I'm like, I don't care. No, I want the best player. Don't give me the guy you think would fit us, that would be nice for us. I'm trying to go steal dudes and in recruiting. So, that's just my little recruiting spiel. That drives me nuts when people say, oh, that he would be nice for you. I'm like, no, that's not who I want.
Yeah, but Coach, you got to be aggressive, right? And you got to have that man, look, we come to ball. Yeah. If you don't have that type of mentality, the attitude, and that's a part of how we were trained as Morehouse men too, right? We got to be the ones on top, and if you can be able to do it, speak it, and see if these guys are going to gravitate to it, right? So I appreciate it, man. Let's flip it. Let's talk about the defense, man. Who is in the trenches? Who are those guys? Those grunt guys.
Well, we have DeJuan Wright. He's back. Steven Singleton is back. Didi, I'm gonna slaughter his last name. Atupu. It's kind of like the first 3 guys out, but we're building. One thing I really, really went in hard in recruiting is building depth. So we brought in 2 transfers, Bryce Nelms, who started at Pitt and then came out of Lackawanna, and then Maxwell Martin, who came out of West Virginia State. So we really, really tried to bulk up the defensive line. Very excited to have Dalen Land back as a playmaking machine at linebacker. He missed most of last season with a knee injury. We're different when he's on the field. And then, we have so many dudes in the secondary: Tyler Davis, Joe Gertman, Taylor Harris, Devlin, Olawami. We just got so many guys back there. I'm so excited. It's going to be hard to play them all, but that's all right. Again, competition makes you better.
Yeah, definitely. When do you guys go to your first game? Who are you playing the first game coming out of this shoot?
So we're playing Virginia Union actually in another classic, Black College Hall of Fame Classic in Canton, Ohio. We'll actually be on the NFL Network, but I'm just fired up. It'll be my first game as a coach at Morehouse since 1994.
Yeah. Now, were you with Doug?
No.
Okay, I was about to say this guy here. You know what he did at Morehouse his first season.
Right, right. No, so it was funny. Mo Hunt and Willie Hill recruited me. They were there. They were there with me for 3 years, and then we had a disaster, and they hired the White Scales. That was an absolute disaster. And then Craig Kaysen came in, and Coach Kaysen had been at Howard. He played at Howard. He had been at Princeton and Dartmouth, and he's the one that really taught me about how to handle the financial aid and do things like that with the scholarships. He was a master at that. So that's who I won my last season, 91. We won the championship, conference championship under him. And then he was there for my senior year plus 2 more years. And he left to become the tight ends coach at Georgia Tech. And then Coach Williams took over, and then I left.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Well, I know for the classic up in Canton, you're going to have a chance to be with Doug Williams and James Shack Harris and those guys up there for the Black College Football Hall of Fame Classic. That's going to go on with Virginia Union. That's going to be awesome. All right. Last thing, Coach. How do you, and I hate to say, what do you want to goal yourself, right? But how are you planning out this season for the Maroon Tigers?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think past the first game, right? One day at a time, one play at a time, one game at a time. Like, it's killing me now that I got to make flight reservations and do rosters and stuff for like 2 games down the road.
Yeah.
I'm like, my mind's not there. This is going to change. This is all fluid information. So it's killing me a little bit, but I got to do what I got to do. So my biggest thing is we're going to take it one step at a time. I don't care who's next. I only care who's now. That's our focus. Once we get through this coming Sunday, we'll bang it around a little bit on Sunday, and then our focus turns to Virginia Union. And a little known fact, the president of Virginia Union is a Morehouse alum, class of '99, I believe. So just a little if that don't get your blood pumping, I don't know what will. But no, we just try and stay focused on the moment. And I tell my guys, that's what's important now is the moment. My DC at Rice, who actually played for me at UMass, Brian Smith has something he brought from NFL. He said, be where your feet are at.
Huh. Okay.
Be where and that's my approach. We're going to be where our feet are at. Our focus is on Virginia Union. We worry about everybody else after that game.
Awesome. Did you have an opportunity to come across Steven Jackson, who used to play for the Oilers, and now he was defensive back coach for the Bengals that Super Bowl year, and now he's with the Atlanta Falcons?
Okay, no, I have not.
Okay, all right. I'm trying to get him to reach out to you, man. That's my cousin.
Okay.
And his son is at Morehouse.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, his second year at Morehouse, he's entering. So really talented young guy. He doesn't play sports like his dad, but he's a very smart young man. All right, Coach, last thing, man, let's talk about HBCUs. You come back to the HBCUs, and you are now going to put your stamp at Morehouse on how to do things and how to right the ship. Talk about the importance of being there, especially with Morehouse having another huge freshman class that just came into the building. So talk about that, as well as why it was important for you to accept this position.
Well, let me say this. It's kind of funny because I always say I never left HBCUs, right? My 2 oldest kids graduated from Delaware State.
Oh, really?
Hornets. Yeah, the Hornets. My youngest started at Prairie View before she went to Air Force. So, my wife is the only one. She's like HBCU, honorary, because all of us are. You know what I mean? So I've never considered myself leaving. And my 5 years at Rice, my D-line coach at Rice, I recruited him to Morehouse. So you had 2 Morehouse guys at Rice. So we was HBCU'd up. But it's a great time. it was the right time in my career to come back, to have this opportunity. And all the pieces are falling in place. Harold Ellis just got named athletic director. We were here, we were here at the same time. So our whole thing, and just from conversations with him, is that we're trying to blow the roof off of this thing. I think at times Morehouse has not always acted like they're in the present with their athletic department. Right? We're trying to get to the present and set ourselves up for the future. Is our mindset.
Love it.
And I think it's something we can do. The president has been very supportive. And he said, Coach, we can build Morehouse through athletics. I said, say no more. I already knew that. I was waiting for you to say it, waiting for you to realize it. But no, he believes that. And I think we can do this thing the right way. I said in the interview, I talked about the power of the M. We're one of the few schools in the country. I can walk into anybody's house and they pretty much know what Morehouse is, or at least have an idea, right? So we can go anywhere and recruit, and so that's great. So that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to take this thing to the next level, do it like it's never done before. And there's going to inevitably, when there's change, there's going to be some resistance.
Yeah.
But just like I told my players, like I had one of my players, he was upset because somebody wasn't doing something the right way. I said, hey, don't worry about it. Because when the train leaves the station, you're either on or off. And if you're not on the train, you're going to get left behind. Shoot, Willie Hills used to be like, that diesel fuel make you sick when the bus leaves. So I was like, you
don't want to smell that exhaust.
Right. I was raised by Willie Hills. So I tell them in a minute, like, we got first 3 games, we flying. I'm like, that jet fuel is strong when you're standing behind it. So don't get left. But, at the same time, we have a roster of about 104 kids. So inevitably, some people are going to get left. But my message to them is it's all about competition. Come back, ready to compete every week. Every week, the roster is fluid. It's like the NFL. I got to post the travel list. That's all right, and we're going to compete. And that's what's going to make us better is competition.
Well, look, I'm chomping at the bit. I'm ready for you, man. And I'm so happy that you took the job. Nate Griffin told me, hey, man, y'all got Joe over there now. Y'all think I'm going to be. Yeah, we're gonna be good.
That's my man, Nate.
Yeah, we're going to be good, Nate. Yeah. I had to tell him, man, to let him know. He's a Morehouse man. What else do you expect?
Right. Well, one thing's funny that Harold Ellis told me, and like when freshman orientation was going on, football players weren't in orientation. We were at practice.
Okay.
Right. It's changed a little bit now, but I had to let him go. But when Harold, being a basketball guy, he got to go through orientation. He said when he was in orientation, they told him that we better. So that's our mindset. We better. So if that's what you say, that's the standard we're going to hold Morehouse to, and everybody that's associated to us, that we have to be better. If we're supposed to be better, then we have to prove it. And that's our job. We're going to make sure that we're proving it on and off the field every single day.
Yeah. Well, Coach, you know how it was when we were sitting in Sale Hall, and we was like, look to your right, look to your left. The guy next to you may not be here.
May not. But you made it.
Made it through by the grace of the Lord, man. A lot of prayers from back home, man. Look, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Coach. It's not going to be our last. We're going to chomp it up a little bit during the season, if you don't mind. I'd like to try to pick your brain, see how things are going. And anything you need from us over at HBCU Legends, always reach out to me. Let me know how things are going. And, man, I'm here to support, okay?
Thank you.
All right. That's Coach Gerard Wilcher of the Maroon Tigers of Morehouse College. Take care.
All right, have a good one.